guys, finally the end of the saga. What a moment for Arsenal fans because the saga is over. Viktor Gyokeres to Arsenal is a here we go. The agreement, the verbal agreement, still waiting for the parties to sign all the contracts, but the verbal agreement between Arsenal and Sporting has been completed today around lunchtime in London with the agents of the player in London, with the director of Arsenal, Andrea Berta, on it, and in direct communication with Sporting. After, guys, last night, I told you on Monday, Man United were offered again the chance to enter into the story for the Viktor Gyokeres negotiation. Basically, from Sporting, the message was something like, we are still not closing with Arsenal, so match the bid, come into the race. Man United considered that possibility, but what I can tell you is that they never sent any formal proposal because the answer from the player was always the same. Only Arsenal Football Club. For Gyokeres, there was no other option. Arsenal Football Club. That was the message of Gyokeres to the president of Sporting. That was the message of Gyokeres to his agent. That was the message of Gyokeres and his agent, Hasan Çetinkaya, to all the other clubs. We said about the Man United opportunity. Saudi clubs 10 days ago all got the same answer. Arsenal Football Club. So, trust me, this story is now at the signing stage, so let's wait for the formal steps. But as soon as this story will be official, I think Arsenal fans should really rate what Gyokeres did to be an Arsenal player, because he had crazy money proposal from the table from Saudi, also the opportunity with Man United to eventually match the bid, pay what Sporting wanted and hijack the deal, but for Viktor Gyokeres was only Arsenal Football Club. And when a player is posing himself like this, and the agent together with him, it's something really strong. So Gyokeres is going to Arsenal. As mentioned, the agreement will be for 63.5 million euros plus 10 in add-ons. So this is going to be the agreement. Also important to say, guys, that these add-ons have been the crucial point of the story, because they've been negotiating on the structure of the add-ons for more than 10 days, always with some issues on Sporting side. They always requested for more, but then Gyokeres, with a strong position, always said, I'm not coming for training. I'm not going to play for Sporting anymore. I want the club to respect what we said, and so now the agreement is done. Don't forget that Arsenal pays 63.5 million euros because the agent of the player will reduce his commission in order to facilitate the deal. Gyokeres also took some part of the salary and gave up on this part of the salary to facilitate the negotiation. So everyone did their own part in this story, but finally now Mikel Arteta is ready to have the striker he wanted, Viktor Gyokeres, after a really crazy story, crazy negotiation, very long saga. Now Gyokeres to Arsenal is a here we go. And is a fantastic news for Arsenal because they add one more player. Meanwhile, Christian Mosquera is traveling to the pre-season tour after all documents signed between Arsenal and Valencia. So the player is on his way to be with the squad of Mikel Arteta. So for Arsenal, all the pieces of the transfer window are going to the right place. Don't forget that there is still the opportunity for Arsenal after they extended the contract of Ethan Nwaneri, because Nwaneri contract is extended, is signed, is done until 2030. Arsenal still consider the possibility of adding one more offensive player. Eberechi Eze remains a strong option. They had very good contacts with the player camp already weeks ago, waiting to see when and if they will approach Crystal Palace. Don't forget that Arsenal also appreciate Xavi Simons, but Chelsea are really pushing on that one at the moment, so let's see what's going to happen there. But for sure, Arsenal are not done on the market, and I think there could be also more things to keep an eye on in case there will be some outgoings. So let's wait, let's see. For Arsenal now, these days were really important in the Gyokeres saga, and they got it done. So now, let's wait, let's see, and then at that point we will understand more on the next movements for Arsenal. But I can say that I don't think Arsenal are done in the market yet.
When are you expecting confirmation on the Gyokeres one? Do we know when it's going to be confirmed?
Well, I'm told there's an agreement in principle now, so it's not just close, it's done verbally. 63.5 million euros plus 10 million in add-ons. They were quibbling over 2.5 million euros of those add-ons. It's now being resolved. Sporting not only wanted them to be easier, but also had some pushback on the overall payment terms of the fixed part of the fee. Arsenal wanted to pay it in 4, Sporting wanted it in 2. They've reached a compromise. So Gyokeres is now waiting for permission to undergo his medical. There may be a sell-on clause as well that still needs to be be finalised. But this is basically a done deal. It's not in doubt. Sporting tried to be tough negotiators and even invite hijacks. Manchester United didn't bite. They didn't want to bid. And Viktor Gyokeres will now be an Arsenal player. It's a matter of when, not if. So next step, permission to travel expected within the next 24 hours. He'll undergo his medical, and then finally, Arsenal will get their number 9.
Do you think that'll be the end of their summer transfer dealings, Ben?
Well, from what they've been saying, it doesn't look like it. They're looking to do more business, aren't they?
Yeah, I think that's true. Arsenal need to assess now because Noni Madueke's come in on the right, but can also switch to the left-hand side. An attacking midfielder has been looked at, but Ethan Nwaneri is about to sign a new deal, and that will mean some game time for him through the centre as well. So Arsenal have got a big decision to make, and I think if they are going to bring in another box office attacker, it might require an outgoing. It will all depend if they just want an out-and-out central midfielder, in which case they could try for Xavi Simons or alternatively Eberici Eze. Crystal Palace with Eze are sticking at the moment to an insistence. It has to be the release clause or nothing. That's £60 million plus £8 million in add-ons. Or alternatively, the other option is Arsenal are patient and focus on a major outgoing, either Leandro Trossard or Gabriel Martinelli, and then they might move for a player who's more of a left-sided specialist. Rodrigo's the one that keeps being linked, but it's a very expensive deal. Arsenal also like Anthony Gordon at Newcastle United. So another attacker can't be discounted, and then we have to wait and see whether or not Andrea Berta feels that they need to strengthen in any other areas. We know Norgard and Zubimendi have already come into the midfield. Mosquera, paperwork has been completed in defence too. So the spine of Arsenal's window is still there. But I sense that there is movement still possible in an attacking sense, especially if we do get one of those outgoings that I mentioned.
Viktor Gyokeres is an Arsenal player. It's a here we go. Arsenal are one of the best clubs in Europe and therefore one of the best in the world. They have finished second the last 2 or 3 seasons. They're in the Champions League. They're going to be in the Champions League. They're a striker away, in my opinion, from winning a title. And Gyokeres is the best striker in Europe. I have been saying this for 6 months. I didn't know he was going to be Arsenal's guy. I thought it was going to be Sesko. And the minute Arsenal got linked to him, I said, I hope they get Sesko, because I think that he is incredible. I'm not bitter about it at all. I can completely understand why you choose Arsenal over Manchester United. I can understand why Arsenal have chosen him over Sesko as well, because I think Arsenal with Sesko, you are bringing in a younger player who has huge potential. But Arsenal have finished second for the last 2 or 3 years, and they need to bring somebody in that can hit the ground running now. The pressure is not on Gyokeres. The pressure is on Arsenal and Arteta to win the title now. I mean, look, it's been an incredible summer transfer window. And in some ways, I really looked at this summer transfer window and thought Arsenal get a striker and it gets interesting. The volume of transfers that Liverpool and Chelsea and Man City have made means that Arsenal with a striker now doesn't necessarily mean they're going to win the league. But they've gone out and done what they needed to do. They've done more than that. They've brought good players in as well. But there will be people out there now who sit there and go, oh, you know, he's not that good. He's done it in the Portuguese league. Look at Ramos at PSG. Look at Nunez at Liverpool. They've failed. There's plenty of players from Portugal who have succeeded, by the way. Bruno Fernandes came in from Sporting, and despite being in a United side that hasn't necessarily done that well, he's consistently put in numbers that would put him in the top attacking midfielders in the world. And he's been considered our best signing in a decade. So, yeah, Sporting Bruno, Sporting Gyokeres. There are other players as well that have come in from Sporting and done pretty well. Cristiano Ronaldo didn't do too bad. So I think Gyokeres is fantastic. He's also very well respected in the Coventry City fan community. I know a few Coventry City fans, and they're like, where's this myth that he was a flop in England? He did really well in the Championship with us, and Sporting bought him. He was always going to leave. He could have gone to a Premier League club, and he went to Sporting. So this myth that he won't adapt to the English game when he's already played it. And I always say, if you've got a young player that's not ready for your first team, drop him into the Championship. So I just think he's going to get, at Arsenal as well, you're going to get chances. You're going to get creativity. You give him 3 good chances a game, he's not going to suddenly lose the ability to finish because the air's different in England to Portugal. Like I just think he's going to be a success.
Arsenal have reached a full agreement to sign Sporting CP striker Viktor Gyokeres in what promises to be one of the biggest transfers of the summer window. According to Fabrizio Romano, the deal is now at the here we go stage, with only medical checks and paperwork left before official confirmation. The Gunners will pay an initial €63.5 million, plus an additional €10 million in performance-related add-ons. Gyokeres will sign a 5-year contract, keeping him at the Emirates until 2030. Speaking ahead, he only wanted Arsenal, Romano reported, highlighting the striker's clear desire to work under Mikel Arteta, despite interest from other top clubs. Transfer insider Ben Jacobs has added that Gyokeres has been cleared for a medical, expected to take place within 24 hours. Should everything go to plan, he'll be officially unveiled shortly after, and could even join Arsenal's pre-season tour in Asia. Stay tuned, Arsenal's new number 9 is nearly ready to be unleashed.